5:30 having almost arrived, we'll call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you could. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, I will note for the record that Selectman Pittman is not going to be with us this evening and will be excused from the meeting. I had hoped to jump right into budgets. And I would mention that if you're looking at the agenda, the fire chief will not be with us this evening, so we're not going to approve the fire rescue department, water holes and such. Also, revaluation of property, as we decided at our last meeting or the one prior to that, to put an RFP out for bids on reval. Probably doesn't make sense to approve that budget until we get some sense of what we're going to get back for bids. We could certainly hear from the town administrator regarding the town administration budget, and I believe Steve Gemelli is going to be here with us for IT too, and we have at least one non-public. So if you can give us the town admin rundown, John.
Okay, that's page 2.
It's like about a $9,000 increase.
Actually, you had updated budget sheets. The increase from the current budget is $14,918, 6.3. That's made up 19%, almost 20% of that is in salaries, the top line. We also have the maintenance, vendor maintenance, which increased as well. That is for some additional costs associated with our accounting computer programs for payroll and AP and budgeting. Those are the bulk of the increases right there.
Questions for John?
I don't have any.
If there are any questions, I would entertain a motion to move that amount.
So moved. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And is Steve's, I think Steve's still here?
I'll text him. I can go over legal next, if
Sure,
that would.
we can do that too.
That is on page 13.
Is level. Not good here.
As you can see, it's down slightly, about $1,500 from the current budget.
Yeah, and I think we need to leave it there, even though we haven't spent much of the legal this year. We're certainly going to as we begin to wrangle with fallout over utility valuations. So
I don't think that's done. That's going to go into next year.
is everybody comfortable with that amount?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could make a motion for it?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second, further discussion. Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, so that passes the legal budgets.
And if you want, I can finish up with personnel administration, page 15. And that is 3 categories: FICA, Medicare, and performance pay. The FICA and Medicare, of course, are
Pretty cut and dry.
related to total salaries.
I don't think there's much question about that.
No.
So we could make a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Appears to be unanimous, John.
Okay.
And we've got Travis and Steve with us, so maybe you could, I think we've got, who we have listed first? We've got
Travis.
Travis listed first, so you could give us a rundown on VZ Park. Mr. McCoy, we'd appreciate it.
I'd be happy to. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so as in years past, I guess our major focus and the major increase this year, again, is in the personnel and reimbursement lines for training of the lifeguards. This year's budget proposal actually outlines exactly how we paid our lifeguards this year. We did in fact have the 5 lifeguards plus the 1 park attendant, and that's exactly how we paid them this year at $11 and $12 an hour. And we're asking for an increase too in the reimbursement line, just to take some of that burden off of the lifeguards. It's definitely a factor when they're looking at coming to work for VZ, whether or not they can afford to pay for the lifeguard course.
Well, given the difficulties we've had getting lifeguards in the past, it makes sense to continue it to me.
Yeah, we've had really good luck the last 2 years with returning guards, and it looks like we'll have a good portion of the staff coming back again next year, and a couple of potentials that have already given us a little hope for maybe a couple of new ones too. So
And that 1,800 covers the lifeguard courses?
yeah, and we figure, because they're 2-year certifications, that there'll be some years where we're not recertifying a bunch of them, but it looks like we're usually doing two lifeguards every year, and we'd like to have 2 swim instructors on staff. Having 1 lifeguard in the water that for all of the instruction it's just too much. We'd like to break it up a little bit and have two instructors.
Is that what the WSI is?
Yes.
The water certification?
Yeah, waterfront certification, yeah.
Questions for Travis?
Additional?
If there isn't, if someone could move the amount and probably read the amount too when you make the motion, if you could, just so we get that on.
Make a motion to approve the VC Park budget for $35,968.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Travis.
Very good, thank you.
And if we can get you to give us a rundown of the IT budget, Steve?
Okay. First, I want to talk about 2019 and the computers that we need for this year.
Yep.
And since you've already approved the 13,000, then I mentioned last time that we've got some extra computers, the library and the fire department. I hadn't calculated those in. So I'm requesting for 2019 for software and the machines an additional 3164 for a total of 16,164.
6164.
Correct. Yeah, I just got my quotes in, and that is based on the best quote.
This is what we talked about 2 meetings ago.
Oh, for this year?
Yeah, this is
right.
for this year, yeah.
Yep.
Particular questions for Steve regarding that? Because we can make a motion to approve out of anticipated surplus, that's 16,164 now.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of approving expenditure of $16,164 for the computer items that Steve had discussed with us 2 meetings ago from anticipated surplus in the 2019 budget?
Aye.
Aye.
Appears to be unanimous. So you're good on 2019, Steve.
Okay. Now for 2020, because we're spending that money, I am looking for a reduction of 13,310 in the budget for 2020 that I had previously put up.
Do you know what that brings your bottom line to?
Yeah, it's 58,516.
That's down from, the initial figure we saw was 72,663.
New number 73 and
Pardon?
this was an updated number.
It was 73,511, so it is down.
Oh, I must have it. I have 71,826.
So is the 58,516 still correct?
Yes, that looks, yeah, that looks good.
As long as we've got the number for the motion.
Mhm.
Can you give us just a rough overview of what you're proposing for
Sure.
2020?
On line, do you have it in front? In line 342, the Microsoft Office PCs, that will go up to 2240 because there's a few more that we have to upgrade next year. As far as item 13 under 430, the StorageCraft Continuity Service, 2,500, we're going to hold off on that one, so that goes away. And then, of course, down on 740 IT equipment for computers, 11,350. You can delete that too because we're going to take care of it in 2019.
So that becomes 0?
Should we put $1 in?
Yes, let's leave $1
Leave
in.
$1 in it.
Those are the changes right there, so that brings it down.
Okay. Questions for Steve? Hearing none, if we could get someone to make a motion for the 58,516?
Make a motion to approve the IT budget for $58,516.
Second?
Second.
No further discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Appears to be unanimous, John.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Steve.
Sure, Steve. At this point, I'm going to leave the regular agenda, and I believe we have some property owners who would like to meet with us in non-public session here this evening, and I would start with, I believe it's Mrs. White, who was here first, so we'll start with you, and give us a minute to make a motion to go into non-public, and then we'll retire to the room in the back of the space here. So, and we need to go in under C.
So we'll make a motion, we go into non-public session, RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2C, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to any application for assistance on tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy if based on liability to pay or poverty of the applicant.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second.
Yes.
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 And I agree, so we are going into non-public session. We'll the back room, we'll be back shortly.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, I'm gonna put us back into regular public session, and if I could get a motion to seal the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Selectwoman McHugh,
Yes.
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 and I agree as well, so seal the minutes. And I would note for the record that no action was taken in non-public session. Moving on, we have outstanding minutes from 9:16, 9:23, 9:30, and 10:07.
Make a motion, we accept those meeting minutes?
Second?
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Discussion on them at this time? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Okay, vouchers and payroll. And accounts payable manifest in the amount of $74,840.09. Everyone had a chance to look at the electronic copy of it, I'm assuming.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
State 15th. Looking at signatures. We've got a couple of things that require a motion. The first being a tax levy for timber tax. This is for Charles Kelsey and Cynthia Kelsey. Map and lot is 40725. The timber yield tax due is $3,462.59.
Make a motion, we collect the timber tax.
Second.
A motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Two signatures on the timber tax ones. Okay, and I have another timber tax levy. This is for Steve Anderson and Dorothy Anderson of Nottingham Road. I believe the timber is out off of Ridge Road Extension, headed up towards Thurston Pond. The amount of the tax due is $783.51.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
And we have several notices of intent to cut. These don't require a motion. I will read the owners and try to give us an idea of where the property is. The first is from Alan and Letty Barton of Loudon, and this is up on Griffin Road, looking at 147 acres of cut on a 274-acre parcel. This is essentially looking out over the hurricane damage section there. Okay, the next one is from Daniel Holdridge. Access Road is off of South Road, looking at cutting an acre of timber on a 5-acre parcel. Appears to be in order. The third is Timothy Mallett and Avis Rosenfield. This is across the street from Jack Sherburne's in Nottingham Road. They're looking at cutting 15 acres on a 33-acre lot. Everything appears to be in order. And the last one we have is from, can't see who the property owner is, John King. And he is looking at a 53-acre cut on a 90-acre parcel off of Reservation Road. It's been submitted by Hopkinton Forestry and Land Clearing. It appears to be in order. We've also attached, he's also attached the license permit bond for $10,060. He's got a bond of $10,060.48. Because they'll still be cutting after December 3rd. So I don't know that we've typically required bonds, but they have one, so. Actually, we did require it. So, compliance. Okay, we have the GIS Internet Services Annual Maintenance Agreement, and this is for the online tax maps that we have online for the residents to track both parcels and actual tax cards. And we need a motion to sign this and pay a total of $2,400 for our annual maintenance agreement, which I believe we just signed to pay in that yellow folder. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
They have not updated their forms, so there are 3 select person signature lines.
Sleep at the switch.
And we have the official agreement for the Southern New Hampshire Planning Road Survey and Study that we had voted to go ahead with, but they need 1 signature. If the board would authorize me to sign this, and the agreements, the town's cost under this agreement shall not exceed $6,596. The other half of it is being paid by the state DOT.
Make a motion to that effect and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion, and the minutes are attached showing a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Appears to be unanimous. And can you sign this as a witness for me, John? Yeah. That takes care of the signatures. Moving on to correspondence. Got a surplus property disposition request, and this is from Parks and Rec, and this is for the International Bus 3200. Estimated value of the item is $8,000 to $10,000. What the board's pleasure is. This is the bus that's across the street.
Oh, yeah, right.
Is there a request there for how to sell it? Is it? We had talked about different options.
There is your form, which you approved last year for the surplus. You have a variety of options. It's up to the board to
To pick one of those options?
correct.
And our options that we've typically used are public auction, solicitation of written bids, negotiated sale to one or more designated buyers, or transfer to another department. Do we want to start with bids and see if we get any bids, or?
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, we could try that.
I don't think we're gonna, I mean, we could certainly get an auctioneer to come and auction the bus,
Yeah.
but he's gonna charge us half
Right.
of what we make.
Is there a place we can take it for consignment?
That would certainly be an option too.
I would have suggested the White Farm, but they do a spring and a fall auction. They've already done their fall auction.
Oh, yeah.
And what we're trying to avoid here is wintering it again. It was $200 a month in electricity to keep it plugged in over at the highway garage, so I'd rather not do that if we can
Mhm.
avoid it.
Right.
Well, do we want to start with bids? And if-
Yeah.
If we
We
don't
don't-
get suitable bids, we always reserve the right to refuse
Mhm.
unsuitable bids, so.
Yep.
Because the White Farm, I think, does April. I think that's their next one.
Right.
So
Is there a bus place over on 125? They seem to sell a lot of buses.
Probably 3 or 4 of them. But certainly, we could, probably should look to see if there are any bus dealers that might be interested, because given our experience, we're likely to get sealed bids of far below what we want to let it go for.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
right.
So let's start with the bid process and look to see if we can find a dealer or concessionaire that might be interested in handling it for us.
Yep.
If that's okay with the board?
Good.
Okay, we have Public Sector Solutions. Is this the electrical, John? Or I don't recall seeing this previously.
Those may be the bids
Oh,
from
this is for the-
Steve.
yep.
Those are the 3 bids he was talking about.
Right, and I don't believe this requires any action. It's
No,
just
it does
for
not.
our- Yeah, it is, exactly. It's the $15,535 for the computers. I would note for the record that on October 7th or thereabout, the board signed the accounts payable manifest dated October 7th, and we also signed a payroll manifest dated October 8th. The amount on the payroll manifest net was $72,795.79. The AP manifest was $513,375.29, with $500,000 of that amount going to the school. And there are planning board minutes and some other board minutes on the left for the board to peruse if you weren't there. John, do you have town administrator's report for us?
Yes, I do. Some of you may have updated budget sheets in your folders. Those are for your binders, and you might find that the totals will better match what we were discussing. As a follow-up to the board, Andy had asked me to check with town council about using any 2019 dollars to pay for engineering studies or plans for the proposed land across the street. I was told that that is not possible, and also not possible to bring it forward in an encumbrance as well, because it would still be using 2019 dollars.
RFP.
The RFP, yes, you all have a draft of the RFP for the assessing services and the revaluation. If you'd like to take a look at it, that's been run by town council. He's made edits, so what you're seeing is the final draft. If published this week, it would be due sometime mid-November. I think it's only prudent to give folks at least a month to put a proposal together of this size. And I would advertise it in all of the typical places, New Hampshire Municipal Association, online, Facebook, and
I don't know if the board wants to review this. If you are comfortable with Bart's recommendations, I might advise moving ahead with it.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Sooner is better. Yeah, so I think the board's in general agreement, John, that we should go ahead.
all right, I'll get that.
Typically, we hear back pretty quickly. The folks that are willing to bid on this know exactly what's involved and what the town, and one of them will likely be CAI, who does our
Oh, right.
online
Yep.
stuff that we just signed, so.
Okay. And we got a quote today. I mentioned to some of you folks last week that when Ray had scheduled an annual furnace maintenance for the highway garage, the highway furnace was deemed unsafe and not usable. So we need to replace it. And just to give a little history, that is a 1982 furnace that is actually used from the town hall, that was replaced and put in the highway garage. But there's multiple safety issues, more than I can start to detail here. Suffice it to say, it cannot be used. The recommendation was from LeBlanc, who has done service on all of our furnaces, for a much more cost-effective version is to go with a propane, smaller unit. It's more efficient and would better fit the size of that building. And that would involve all new ductwork, which is currently not insulated right now up in the ceiling, and venting, proper venting to the outside. Right now, the firebox in the existing furnace is burned through and has been leaking gases into the building for quite some time. So it's just not a good situation. I did get a quote for $11,881. That's to put in the new furnace, all new ductwork, proper venting, and dispose of the ductwork and the furnace itself. LeBlanc would dismantle it and take it away. Otherwise, we would be required to do that. And I do want to mention that when I talked to the road agent, he was more in favor of replacing it with an oil burner unit that they have now, obviously much smaller and more efficient. But the verbal quote that Ray got from LeBlanc was in exceeding $30,000 or more to go with an oil unit versus a propane.
That was the rumbling I'd heard, that we were looking at well over 30, but 11 is.
Propane is what? 11,000?
11?
11,881.
It's a no-brainer.
Doesn't make sense, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
We-
burner is what changes.
I understand, and I had hoped to have a quote for the oil burner, but it didn't get here in time, and I was hoping to get an information from Ray, but he hasn't contacted me. So if you want to hold off, I don't know how long we can hold off. You'll meet next week. If I can get a quote for the actual oil burner, you can have a choice.
yeah, for 20 grand, I think we're going to have to wait until next week.
Okay. I was hoping to have both for you tonight, but I didn't have it in time.
It won't be wildly cold.
Right.
Anything else, John?
And that's it from me.
Okay, under new business, we had transfer station and landfill with Rick Pelletier and building inspector. Obviously, Rick isn't with us this evening. I think, I don't know how the board feels, but I think given the fact that Randy appears to be working out pretty well as assisting
Yeah,
Mr. Pelletier with paperwork and that sort of thing, that we can probably remove the assistant from the building inspection budget
that's certainly what it sounds like,
and
yeah.
and move forward with that, unless there is objection. Other business.
Do you want to vote on that budget tonight? Because that hasn't been approved yet. Or do you want to wait?
Do you think we're gonna have Rick at our next meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, let's wait then.
Okay, yeah.
So. Other business or new business? Yeah,
I
Fred.
heard the fire department had a fairly successful yard sale with all the stuff coming out of that Connex box.
Good.
Even to be able to sell the doors that were there.
Really? They did?
Yeah. Is that right?
Mhm.
One gentleman seemed to make a rather large purchase. Matt told me.
It sounds like the numbers of the money that we got was exceeded those quotes that we had received previously, so.
Yes.
Good. Anything else?
Nope.
Hearing nothing.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
As Dick would say, 6:55.
Thank you,
Look
Jeff.
forward to next week.